Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about AI in HR, specifically in recruitment process. Imagine having to sift through tens of resumes with cover letters, analyzing knowledge, experience, skill sets of each candidate manually, weighting pros and cons. Sometimes it can be quite time consuming and exhausting, leading to biased picks, wasting time on interviews, or even missing a talent. But what if AI could do all the heavy lifting for you, ensuring every candidate gets a fair, unbiased evaluation while comparing their skill sets, education, cover letter, and more? In today's video, we're exploring how recruitment process automation with AI transforms hiring, from providing detailed CV and cover letter analysis to generating insightful summaries and unbiased scoring. This process removes the stress of manual sorting and ensures you never miss on a top talent. The coolest part? Once built, can be deployed multiple times for any position. Let's see how that works. In our example, we will be searching for a human resource assistant for our company XYZ. We have published a sample job description somewhere on the internet. For example, it can be a LinkedIn, it can be our social media, it can be job searching websites or anywhere else. We have published a job description with the requirements and we left our email. So the candidates, whenever they read the job description and if they apply, they are going to be sending us an email. So we will be asking for a cover letter be provided through the email and attach their CV to that email. So this is a sample job description I found on the internet, so we will be searching for human resource assistant. Well, let's actually take a look how the whole process looks. And usually for companies, they create custom emails for such candidates so that they need to send their emails through a specific inbox. For example, HR@xyzcompany.com or applicants or sales candidate at companydomain.com. This is what we're gonna have here as well. In our case, we'll be having a Gmail account, could be any other email that you have. So what happens there is whenever there is a new email coming to an inbox, this process starts. So it watches for any incoming emails and then it iterates the attachment. So we're assuming that our candidates, whoever is gonna send us an email, will also have an attached CV to that email because that's what we were asking in our job post somewhere on LinkedIn, for example. And then we go, so there's nothing specific there, right? So essentially what this block does, it takes the Gmail attachment that was attached to a specific email and work with this attachment further on. Right, so the next module is a simple router with a filter, and sometimes our candidates can send their CV not in a PDF format, but actually in a Word format. So in such a case, if it's in a Word format, what we're gonna do with a specific module, pdf.co, we're gonna transform those words into PDF, and then we're gonna work with all the PDF that we have accumulated. In our case, we're just gonna take the attachment and then going to transform it to PDF. So then what we're gonna do is we convert from PDF to text. Out of PDF, we want to extract the text because next we want our AI to actually do the scoring for us. We want AI to do the analysis. And so that it doesn't work with the actual PDF, but it actually works with text, we need to extract text from the PDF file. And this is essentially what happens here. So we do convert it from PDF just to text and we set a variable. And basically here we call it CV text because this whole route is made to extract. So it's not a PDF file, just transform it to PDF, extract text from PDF and sets it to specific variable so that later on we can pass that variable to our AI model. So the next one is the PDF document. So if the file name contains a PDF and in that case doesn't contain a PDF. So if it does contain a PDF, then we're just gonna extract the information from the PDF to text. And it's basically the same model that we were having here. It's gonna extract the information to text and set this to a specific variable. What is important, the name of the variable in this case is exactly the same because it cannot do two routes at a time. It's gonna be either PDF or not. So it will create one variable at a time. Either it was a PDF or not a PDF because later on I'm gonna work with that variable. And basically this is what this module is for. It's a get a variable module that will get either this one variable or this variable. Both variables have the same name, so it's going to create the same variable every time. So next what's going to happen is we are going to pass our cover letter that was in the body of the email and the attached text. Well, the attached document that was transformed into text, we're going to pass that to AI, and we want AI to actually evaluate this candidate. So how that's going to work? So in that case, we have to message an assistant. An assistant was recreated in the OpenAI playground, and we're going to take a look how the instructions actually look for this assistant. So I call that a professional recruiter. I use GPT-4o model just because I want a little bit of better outputs. I do file search because I have actually attached my sample job description, because every time AI model will be evaluating the cover letter and the CV based on the job description. So if it fits the job description or not. So the instructions are the following. Let's actually take a look. We've got a role, and we give it a role as a professional recruiter that's going to analyze job based on their cover letter and CV. Then we have a context. We've got a task. What is really important here? We are going to introduce the scoring into our model, and the scoring is here. So here are the specifics. Scoring from 0 to 100 points, experience and skill match. It can give up to 40 points for this particular section, and it should answer basically 2 questions. Does the candidate have relevant experience? Are their skills directly aligned with the job description? So this will give up to 40 points for each candidate. Then it's going to analyze educational background and give up to 20 points. Then it's going to take a look at the cultural fit and values, communication and presentation. And for this one, we're going to look at the cover letter. And if the cover letter is organized well, if it motivates the reasoning why candidate applied for the job, etc. And then we have additional factors. If there are any positive signs that this candidate can succeed at a specific job, for example, qualifications, hobbies, interests, etc. So in total, we had 100 points scale that AI is going to evaluate every candidate on. The next thing is also very important because I want my AI model to evaluate each candidate's strengths, weaknesses, risks, and opportunities. This will provide kind of a 360 view if that candidate is a good fit for my position or not. So if we take a look at the strengths, we say identify 2 to 5 key strengths, for example, strong project management skills, extensive experience in the healthcare industry, etc. Identify 2 to 3 weaknesses, risks, and opportunities, because that way I can actually understand. Sometimes the candidate might not be a perfect fit for a position, but it has quite unique opportunities that I might use. For example, it doesn't have extensive knowledge in my particular topic, but it has experience in organizing events, and I have plenty of events coming. So I may consider this candidate as a potential hiree. So I want this to be taken into account. Next, I want to ask this model to create questions for my candidates, because whenever I have an interview planned, I don't have time to actually read through the CVs, and I want my questions to be prepared to ask. And that's why it also generates 5 questions that I must ask my candidate based on their CV in my job description that is kind of not mentioned somewhere in CV, but would be interesting to know from a candidate. Finally, I asked it to generate a brief summary, because if there will be many candidates, I will probably just go through the scoring and a brief summary for each candidate. And if I see these candidates are good fit, then I'm gonna delve deep and actually read their strengths, weaknesses, and the questions. But first 2 things I'm gonna be watching is what is the score and what's the brief summary, if this candidate is a good fit or not. All right, and then I provide a few examples. So let's get back to our process. We have those instructions giving. We have submitted the job description. So here we have just the user message that says provide a comprehensive analysis of how well the candidate fits to fill in the open position based on the description provided. And here we provide candidate's cover letter. So the cover letter is essentially the body of the email, and we provide candidate's CV. And I think there is nothing else. I actually use the latest model available, and here we don't need to select anything else. So we press OK. And the next module is quite interesting, because what I want to do is I want to populate the results into my Excel file. But the problem is GPT is going to create me the chat response, and essentially it's going to be a long response that I don't want to just output to my Excel file, because otherwise I'm not gonna see, the split. I want it to be the following. We have candidates' names first, we have brief summary, scoring, total score, strength, weaknesses, risks, opportunities, and questions for each candidate. But if I just output the GPT response, it's gonna be a long text and no splitting groups. So what happens next is we have another model here, Anthropic, that's gonna create a JSON output out of the output that we got here from OpenAI. So, and actually the reason I'm using Claude here, because if I were to use ChatGPT, it's gonna create certain tags that I will need to eliminate with the formula, which will require an additional built-in step for me that I want to avoid. Because if I'm gonna use Claude for this particular purpose, it doesn't create any tags. So the output, it would be pure JSON that I need, that I can later on parse and send it to Microsoft Excel. So I use Claude Sonnet model, and we have a user prompt. We give it the following prompt. So you must rewrite the given text in a JSON format specifying the following categories. And we name the categories: candidate's name, brief summary, experience. Here I also I don't summarize, but I provide the value that I want to see, because brief summary is going to be definitely a string value, here string. But for numbers, I specify here the details, communication and presentation, additional factors, and just because it's a scoring, I specify that that's just a number. And then we've got strength, weaknesses, risks, opportunities, and questions. And the last one is basically the result that I have. So next, once I generate my JSON format in Anthropic, I can parse it to JSON, because I want it to split to different variables so that I can use them for different basically columns in my Excel file. So that's why I create a data structure that looks like this. So we've got every data entry for every variable: brief summary, scoring, strength, weaknesses, risks, opportunities, questions, name, experience and skills, education background, communication, etc. And we send the Claude response here because it's already formatted in the JSON format. We send the structure to Parse JSON model so that it splits into different variables. And basically last, what's gonna happen is I'm gonna input those variables into my Excel file. So we've got a candidate's names, brief summary, experience and skills, total score, and all those things incorporated into my Excel. You can use Google Sheets, you can use Airtable, or any other output model for this one, but I would be using Excel for the sake of purpose here. So let's actually take a look. So we've got a candidate called Maxim Sputnich that's gonna apply for the position. He has sent his CV. And he's sent his cover letter. I'm writing to express my strong interest in the human resource assistant position at Flow.ai. Very motivated candidate. We've got a CV for the name Anthony Brown, but that's okay. It's also taken from the internet. So we would be saying that's actually Anthony Brown's CV, just sent from Maxim Putnich email. So let's do the following. Let's actually run our module and let's see how that works and what kind of output we can get. So once we run it, it watches the email. It finds the email from Maxim Sputnich. It understood that it has a PDF document attached, and indeed it's a PDF. So then it set it as a variable, and then later on it gets that variable and send the whole prompt to OpenAI Assistant. So again, Assistant task is gonna take some time because it got long instructions, and it also has a lot of text in the input module, so it will need some time. Then the Claude is gonna do the JSON file, parse JSON, and output in Excel, and let's actually take a look how that works in an Excel file. So we don't see that right now, and let me actually save it and close it and reopen. So once I reopen the file, we've got Anthony Brown. Anthony Brown is a strong candidate for human resource assistant position at Flow.ai with relevant HR experience and a passion for contributing to a high-performance culture. It has evaluation. What we can also do, show what was the maximum score for each group, but let's pretend we remember. So the total score is 80 out of 100. Let's look what are the strengths of the candidate. It's proficient in Microsoft Word and Excel, strong understanding of employment law practices, experience in HR functions such as employee relation and training, lack of specified education background, no explicit mention of experience with HR's database management, or the risk potential lack of formal education or certifications in HR, unclear experience with HRS database, which may require additional training. Opportunities could bring fresh insights into fostering a high-performance culture eager to engage in strategic planning and professional development. And questions. Let's see what questions we need to ask this candidate. Can you elaborate on your experience with HR information system, how you've utilized them in the past roles? How do you ensure compliance with employment laws and regulations in your HR practices? Describe a time when you facilitate a company-wide committee. What was the outcome? How do you handle confidential information in your HR role? What strategies do you use to engage employees during orientation and training sessions? These are actually very good questions. Some of them are tricky ones. The ones describe a time when you facilitate a company-wide committee. What strategies do you use during orientation training sessions? Those all are good questions. Sometimes we might even miss specific points. Maybe those questions are not that much related to their CV, although it was mentioned that they lack education or work with HRS database. That's why the first question, this is when it comes from what's your experience working with HR systems. But the other questions are tricky and interesting. That way, when you have all the candidates who send you an email, you can score them here and then just sort it from the largest to smallest, brief summary, and pick the first ones to schedule an interview with. And you can even go further. You can add blocks to schedule interviews here, but for the sake of this example, we're gonna omit scheduling interviews and we're gonna leave here. I also added the break error handlers here just in case some of the modules break at some point, and this might happen sometimes. It will retry after 1 minute just in case something happens. But otherwise, you have inbuilt system for any candidate that's gonna send you a CV and attachment through email with their cover letter in a body text. Is gonna analyze and score each candidate on a certain criteria and will provide you with a complete summary which candidate is a better fit. This will be essentially helpful when you hire for different positions, when you have multiple opening positions, when you have different candidates coming, and you don't really have time to read through each and every CV. And you want to be efficient, you want to be quick, you want to come prepared to an interview, and you want to actually see the candidate and feel the energy. This would be like, a formal thing to get you quickly prepared for that and focus on the other stuff that is more important for your business. Let's quickly recap the transformative benefits of automating your recruitment process with AI. First, AI ensures an unbiased and thorough evaluation of every candidate, scoring them fairly without any manual bias. This means you're always focusing on the best talent, free from unconscious prejudice. Next, the detailed CV analysis and strengths, weaknesses, risks, and opportunities. Those summaries provided by the AI mean you won't miss critical information, making your decisions more informed and effective. Plus, the AI even generates insightful questions tailored to each candidate, helping you delve deeper into their potential fit. This approach not only saves you countless hours, but also relieves the stress of manual resume screening, allowing you to focus on building the best team possible. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more insights on using AI to optimize your workflow. And don't forget to hit the notification bell to stay updated with our latest content. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.